And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100% agree. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, hello, everyone. Back with Weighing In. We are here for you, and we just had another fight night from Abu Dhabi and Fight Island, and so we decided, Josh, I, and Podcast Dave, that we would actually stay up and do another show for you and talk about some of the great fights that were there on Fight Island. If you are a new subscriber, we want to thank you for being a subscriber here on Weighing In. And if you're an old subscriber, thank you very much for sticking with us. We hope you're being entertained. We hope you're getting good information from us. And we want to thank you for building our podcast. If you check us out on YouTube, give us that thumbs up if you can. That helps us with our numbers. We are growing exponentially, and it's pretty cool that that is happening. You can catch us, as I said, on YouTube. You can catch us on Google Podcasts, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and I'm not going to say it, but a lot of other podcast platforms too. If you like our show and you want to kind of be part of it, you can get a t-shirt. We've got a very cool new t-shirt and new logo for our podcast. You can go to prowrestlingtees.com. And if you go there, click on Weighing In, look at the picture that's got the good looking guy and the ugly guy. You figure out which is which. I can tell you right now, but it's not hard to figure out. And then when you hit that, you're going to see a list of the shirts. We got 4 shirts there for you. One of the new ones. If you like one of them, you put in the code birthday, because we have had our 1-year anniversary, and with birthday, you will get 20% off on your t-shirt. So, Josh, what's up, dude?
That was a very big word coming from you. Exponentially, huh?
Exponentially. Thank you very much.
Very good. Very nicely done. Nicely done.
Growing all the time.
Yeah, that's a word podcast Dave would never be able to use.
Josh didn't even know the word when past X. He heard X and he's like, that's all I could understand. He started scrolling through pictures of girls on your phone.
I'm not so bad at spelling and reading and stuff, but math is not my forte, as we've seen. By the way, Dave?
What?
Dave did a kind of a blooper / highlight reel / video for us, and it's on our IG page, and it's on the IGTV, correct?
Yeah, but it's also on YouTube.
It's on YouTube as well.
Is that the one that's got the false thing of you trying to say that I said curling is like wrestling or something? Man, that was bad.
Sorry, but it's only facts that we're speaking around here, buddy. We're only speaking facts around here. You tried to compare curling to wrestling as an Olympic sport.
No, I did not. But you was just embarrassing. Up there very well. I'll give you kudos. You freaking tried to pull that off very well.
Yeah, we call that hooking. Where I'm from, I hooked you into this horrible conversation and then tried to use your words against you. It worked actually in this highlight reel. Anyways, you guys got to check it out. It's pretty funny. A lot of moments throughout the year that we've had, and Dave's been able to throw together.
Song ya dong.
And song ya dong.
I got it.
Dong ya song ya dong.
Bad.
It was so much dong song. We went through it all. It was great, man. I was watching. I probably watched it about 6-7 times, and it was so funny. I just realized though, that was only like a fraction of how much I make fun of podcast Dave, but it was great.
I actually had more. My girl was like, "You can't put all them in because then it just sounds like Josh is ragging on you the whole time." It's like, yeah, so
wow.
Well, yeah, and people, I'm sure, just enjoy it though, because I think some of them now are starting to understand my pain, with dealing with you all these years. But it's been fun. I gotta tell you, the show has been a blast. I've been having a great time. John and I seem to get along really well. We're trying to find a producer we get along with, but it's been great. We've had a blast. Podcast Dave is absolutely amazing at his job. It's not such a bad person either. And man, this has been great. I can't believe it's already been a year, John.
It's kind of crazy. It did go fast.
Yeah.
Which only says that, you know what? It's like that downhill, you've crested and you're picking up speed on the downhill when you're me, because you're just getting older and the days go faster. It's like they're not even 24 hours anymore. A day's probably like, right now, a day's probably like 22 hours, maybe 21 and a half.
Hours?
Yeah.
That's what it's like when you start getting my age, because the days just go faster because time's running out, man.
Oh man. So let's it's funny. I was texting back and forth with your wife today, and she was telling me you're playing golf.
I was playing golf today. It was so freaking hot and humid. It almost killed us.
Oh man. So the humidity is just on point in Tennessee.
Oh, right now it is just think of playing golf with your wet jiu-jitsu gi over your face. That's about what it's like, man.
Sounds amazing. I was in Tennessee like back in 96, 97 in August, just so happened to be in August. It was the first time I'd ever seen fireflies. Absolutely.
Oh, they're cool.
They're so cool. They're so cool. It was the first time I ever seen fireflies. I actually drove from northern Idaho all the way through Montana, Wyoming, down to Colorado, and then Colorado through Kansas. Anyways, drove all the way down. It was awesome. Great little road trip. Biggest thunderstorms I've ever seen coming through Kansas.
Oh yeah,
through Kansas, and then when I got to Tennessee, great little. I stayed at a friend's aunt's house or whatever with obviously with my friend, but great little, like one of those old nice Victorian houses with the wraparound porch, beautiful view. It's absolutely amazing. I loved it. I loved it there. The downtown was really nice. Really concerts everywhere. It's so funny. On Wednesday night in downtown Nashville, they do these things. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's Wednesday night. They have live bands that come down and play on this huge stage downtown. People run around with like pony kegs on their backpacks and just selling beers for like $1 or $2. I mean, obviously the pricing's probably changed since 96, but it was amazing. And some of the groups that I saw that night, it's so funny that I remember their names, which is weird because I don't remember a whole lot. Is back then Nickelback played. What's it called? Goo Goo Dolls. They played, and it was all free. It was just downtown on a big stage. It was absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah.
There was another big name group that played. Gosh, I can't remember. I want to say it was No Doubt with Gwen Stefani. I think it was No Doubt. The three of them all played on that stage. I was in shock. I was like a couple months later, they just ended up being really big, which is pretty cool. Good times, man. I'm gonna get out to your place and take a look at it, man. You live on a lake.
I told you, man.
I know.
Why don't you just drive down with me after the show?
We'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
I don't know about July and August. It's a little hot and humid.
The best, man.
Oh,
you
man.
know, as bad as I'm making it sound.
Yeah.
With the heat, it is so nice. And there's something about, I don't know what it is. We get to these giant thunderhead clouds. They're just giant billowing white, and it's the blue sky and the white and the heat, and it's just beautiful. So really enjoy it.
Yeah, I've found that old people really like the heat because it keeps their joints lubed.
Yeah, because you know what? Yeah, it's because you can actually go, I'm okay. I'm sweating my ass off, but I'm warm. Pretty good. I can move.
Your bones and muscles still move. Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah, you're not moving to Colorado anytime soon.
Hell no, man.
Absolutely not.
My wife talked about moving to Alaska at one point, and I said that is not going to freaking happen.
No,
I would look like a 2x4.
Absolutely not. All right, well, let's talk about the fights, man.
What'd you think, man? I'll tell you, look, I am so impressed.
Mm-hmm.
I talked earlier to you about Kattar and how good he was and different things, but god damn, I'm impressed with Dan Ige. He definitely lost the fight, no doubt about it. That some bitch has got balls that fucking clank because he is just tough as hell. He keeps coming forward. He's trying everything he can. You can see, just look at the damage, that's inflicted between, what Kattar had and what Dan had. Big difference. And the judges were right in giving it to Kattar. But God, you got to look at Dan and just go, man, I am so impressed with a guy that is just, he's got that junkyard dog mentality of, I do not quit. I will not stop. I will find a way. And you think that eventually, man, he's going to land one of those shots and he's got a chance. It didn't happen for him. Great fight for Kattar, but you got to give it up. It took two to freaking tango in there, and Ige made it a fight.
Yeah. No, he definitely did. I was very impressed with he was starting to set in the first round his rhythm a little bit. and then Kattar hit him with some good shots. And it kind of set the tempo back, and he was getting a little too comfortable. Kattar was like, hey, I'm going to put you in check a little bit. I had Kattar win in the first round. You get into that second round, Dan started landing some really good shots and bloodied him up in the nose. I think it looked like his nose was, I don't want to say it was broken, but, it started blooding up. But I'm sure most fighters have a little swelling on the nose like that across the bridge. So, but he bloodied him up a little bit. He landed some good clean shots. Looked like he was changing the tempo of the fight. But then as Kattar,
he was trying.
As Kattar went back to his corner said, okay, look, the second round was close. This is what we talked about last week. Corners, be very upfront with your fighter. And you saw the change right off the bat from Kattar. He came out and just set the tempo because his corner told him, the first round you definitely won. The second round was really close. I can't tell you yes or no. And he said, you did well, but you got to just have more output. You got to have more output. That's all it was. When you threw, you landed. He gave him a couple little things to work on. That was brilliant cornering. And then you saw it from the fighter. From Kattar came out, touch, boom, touch, boom. And his takedown defense was on par. Right off the bat, he stuffed, was able to stuff takedowns. Once you stop one and then two, it changes the dynamic of the game. 100%. I've talked about this before. When guys that fight Tony Ferguson, like I have, like once you get like a funky roll away or you get someone that stuffs your takedown, anything along those lines, it changes the dynamic of how you approach the fight. Well, shit, there goes kind of my game plan a little bit. He's already got this figured out. Like this is what he must have been expecting. And Kattar's had to deal with that, I'm sure, because he's so good on the feet his whole career. But as the fight went on, he just continuously picked up the pace with the output a little bit more. You could tell in the fifth, he just kind of was like, okay, I feel like I'm up. I think he knew he was up. And Dan was really trying to push the pace and touch him. He just couldn't get anything really going in the fifth either. He had a couple good shots he landed, but not enough to really win the round. I mean, it was a tough fight. Here's the thing. I've trained with Dan a couple times. Extremely talented, extremely tough. But you and I were talking off air. I said, he's almost like, I'm not talking about in comparison in terms of like their fight, how they fight. I'm talking about in terms of like guys that are not very good at specifically one thing. Dan Ige is not the best jiu-jitsu guy. He's not the best stand-up guy. He's got good cardio, but it's not like off the charts or someone that just runs at you and pushes the pace. He's not really great anywhere, but he is good everywhere. And he finds ways to make it, like you said, a junkyard dog fight. He just ran into somebody who was able to stuff the takedowns and was obviously the better striker. When you run into that, it's hard to really get into your rhythm of what you want to do to get done. And I compared him a little bit off air to John Fitch, like someone who is not the best. He's not the fighting style, but just not the best anywhere, but always found ways to kind of get a win when he wasn't supposed to, and got him to a title shot. I think Dan's going to learn a lot from this fight, and what he needs to work on and how he needs to improve on it. And he's got all the best guys around him. I mean, with all these, the stable of guys that he has, he's got great wrestlers for him to work with. I know he's at Extreme Couture's. He's got
Eric Nipsick is in his corner, and Eric is just a dynamite.
Yes.
Corner person. He is just so good. He's so calm. He gives them truth.
Yep.
He doesn't sit there and tell them, "Oh, you're winning," when he knows they're not. And you could even hear him in the fifth round. Hey, we got to go after him. And he's not saying, "Hey, I need you to knock him out." Hey, we got to go after him.
Gas pedal.
And that's what he's saying. Yeah, man.
Put your foot on the gas pedal.
And that was the one thing that I give it to Dan. That second round, he started to create just problems in his movement and the way he was sliding forward and attacking in this awkward rhythm at times. Mm-hmm. And it made Kattar stop his offensive progression. And it was good that his corner said, "Hey, you're the one that's stopping you. Your output is poor. I need more output for him." And he picked it right up off of it. And that's what changed the fight right back into his realm. And that's what makes a good fight. There was good fighter IQ on both sides.
Yeah. As soon as Dan's eye started swelling up, I saw the flinching start going on. And when that started going on, you could tell
you can't see.
You can't see. That's one. You can't judge the distance. You can't judge the speed. And just Dan wasn't, normally being kind of more of a counter fighter, he wasn't able to get off because he was more of a flinch, like not sure what the depth of the punch was coming from, the speed of the punch. All those things went out the door, and it made it a lot harder for him to get a rhythm going on in that 4th and 5th round. So, hey, tough fight. Pretty much on to the next one. That's really what he does. He's got to get on to the next one. And Kattar, where do you see him going from here?
Man, I'll tell you what, there's so many good matchups that you can put him in right now. It's just a real question of where is it going to be? Because, obviously you got Volkanovski sitting there on top, and you've got Holloway, who had a great performance, but, he's going to be coming off of a loss. And you have Ortega coming up. You got Korean Zombie there. You got Zabit still there. And, a lot of people, thought that if that was a 5-round fight between Zabit and Kattar could have won that fight. He was coming on and starting to do well towards the end of that fight, going into a 4th, 5th round. Maybe he would have overtaken him. You don't know.
Yeah.
And you got Rodriguez too. Yair Rodriguez is just sitting there, and you can't take anything away. That guy's got skill that he can fight with anybody. So,
yeah. I think where you put him is, I would really like to see him fight Max. You put Kattar and Max, both stand-up guys.
Well, that'd be a good fight.
That'd be a great fight for
the
fans.
Good matchmaking job.
I know. Well, because you already have Yair and Zabit already matched up. And then Korean Zombie and Ortega already talking shit. They've been talking shit for a long time about them getting into a fight and a contract. And the UFC said the contract was sent. Someone hasn't signed it yet, but Zombie can't leave the country anyway, so it doesn't make a difference right
and
now.
I'm not even bringing in Josh Emmett.
Yeah,
he just had surgery on his knee, so he's going to be out.
He'll be out for a bit,
time.
And he'll probably want a tune-up fight when he comes back, coming off of a long layoff. So, I mean, realistically, I'd like to see the Max and Kattar fight. That'll push Kattar into basically next in line title contention if he beats Max. That'll leave Max right there at the top to potentially fight if Zabit and Yair, the loser of that, or maybe just whoever wins that goes and fights Volkanovski, and then he can fight right after that. Hopefully, if Volk loses, I mean, I don't think you're gonna give him another shot. It'll be another year and a half, 2 years.
It'll be a while.
Yeah, it'll be a long time. So, unfortunately, like I said that one time when you were trying to argue, and I said, Max had the most to lose, and he does. So I wanted to make sure that I reminded everyone because he'll be sitting on the bench for 2 years now. Jose,
hold on. Stop.
No, you can't stop me, man. We're talking here.
You're doing that hook thing. Okay. So let's straighten this out and talk truth. Because I said that Aldo had the most to lose.
Which he didn't.
Which he did.
No.
Really? He's going to get another shot at 135?
But I think at his stage in his career, does that matter?
Right now, you're talking about Max Holloway.
Well, if you go to the comment section, I like to do, everyone agreed to me.
Section. I'm talking to you right now because if you're talking about Max Holloway, how many people would like to see him back in a title fight right away? A ton. So he's not in a bad position. He didn't lose anything. He lost nothing.
Yes, he did. He lost a chance of fighting for a title shot. He will not fight.
He's going to get another title fight.
You just said it'll be a while. Fight? You just said it'll be a while.
No.
Jose Aldo.
They could do it right away.
Aldo already
going to be close.
But they won't. But they won't do it right
Are they going to put Aldo against Jan again? No. Okay.
No. But no, what I'm saying though is they've been holding up that division for a while, and they just have now a vacant title for someone to come in and fight. Here's the thing: if Henry jumps in this, which apparently it sounds like he's working his way possibly in there, this division is going to be held up for a while anyways. So it wouldn't matter. If Aldo if he had wanted to fight Henry, okay, but he's now that he's lost, he would be on the back burner anyways.
Henry doesn't want to fight in the bantamweights. Henry wants to fight Volkanovski at featherweight.
I don't know. He was talking a lot of shit.
He said the fight he wants is what?
Yeah, he wants the Volk.
Alex Volkanovski. Okay, so now, and you're right. But kind of put a little bit of a.
But after the Peter and Aldo fight, he talked a ton of shit to Peter. Like, oh, you're garbage, you're this, you're that. I'd come in there and smack you around. And so, anyways, my point was, to me, I feel like because Max being at 27 years old, he has the most to lose right now. Because if Volkanovski has that title for 2 or 3 years, he'll be on the back burner for at least 3 years. He's going to need to, they're not going to give him a title shot right away. He's got to starch Kattar. He's got to starch the loser of Zabit and Yair. He's got to
why is it that he has to start?
He's got to beat these guys.
The loser instead of the winner of
who else
Zabit,
would he fight?
Yair. Why wouldn't he fight the winner of
Because the winner would be next in
Yair.
line for a title shot, I would imagine.
I don't know.
That's number 3 and number 1 or number 2 or something like that.
Well, and you've got Korean Zombie sitting there too.
Yeah, but we don't. But the hold up with him is we don't know when he's coming over.
That as far as travel.
And Zombie's got to beat Ortega. It's what I mean. Like if you're talking fight style, they're gonna have to fight, and so he could lose.
He wants to fight.
Brian Ortega's fucking tough. So. And I don't really, I mean, sure, it was a great fight between Ortega and Max, but that's not a fight they're probably going to put together. Max is going to be on the bench for at least 2 years, at least. They're not going to have a fight as long as Volkanovski remains champion. Yeah.
Okay. And so that's 2 years. And so how long is it going to be before Aldo gets a title?
Aldo could retire tomorrow. He's 33 years old.
Didn't say about retiring. So he's going to retire. So that
as a legend.
His career.
So that's my point.
He's not going to get another title shot.
At 33 years old, that doesn't mean a whole lot.
Doesn't mean that he can't fight. I'm not saying he won't be fighting.
But that's not
now he's going to be the guy who
that is not the most to lose,
the UFC
John.
is using to build somebody else's career.
John, the most to lose is your prime years, and Max is losing them, not being able to fight for the title if Volkanovski stays the champion. That is the most to lose over Jose Aldo, who is going to go down in history as probably the best bantamweight, or not bantam, but featherweight in the world. Until somebody else comes along.
He hasn't won a fight at bantamweight, just so
I know that. I'm saying though, is at featherweight. He's going to go down, like he has a legacy already there in place. Max,
I'm not saying he doesn't have a legacy, but he is the guy who now becomes the opponent. Max doesn't become the opponent.
He's 27 years old.
Max is a contender. Aldo is now an opponent. That puts you in a position you lost more.
No.
Just being honest.
I disagree. We can agree to disagree.
We will agree to disagree.
Ladies and gentlemen, in that comment section, let John know. Max is losing 2 to 3 years of his prime, having to sit on the sideline. If Volkanovski remains the champion, yes, he will. He'll sit on the.
Now you're having to add more on.
No, if he 2 years, if that's
a 2-letter word, but it's going to carry a long way. Where mine. Aldo's not going to get that chance again.
Aldo's 33. Sad. He's already done it all.
33 is not old.
You're right, it's not, but he's been the champion for a long time. That's a lot.
Yes,
he's done a lot.
I admit that.
Okay.
I admit that. But he's done so much in this sport. He was the first WEC. Now he wasn't the first WEC featherweight, but he was the featherweight champion there. And then he was the first UFC featherweight champion and held it for how long?
Who was the first one? Bowles?
Oh no! I would have thought Uriah.
Was it?
Probably Uriah. Yeah.
Uriah lost to Bowles then? Wasn't Bowles the champion when Aldo beat him?
I
can't remember the guy's name. It was something Bowles. I think was his last name.
Bowles.
Mike
Brown beat Uriah.
Yeah, I saw that. But I think Uriah maybe beat Bowles. Did Uriah lose it somewhere? Anyways, we have to go back and take a look. See, you guys?
Ryan Bowles.
75 years old. Brain's not there as much anymore. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you.
If I didn't do the fight, we're in trouble.
Bring that point up, please. I want people to understand this. Look, I've been in, 35, 40 fights. You've reffed thousands of fights.
Yes.
Majority of them multiple times of these fighters.
Yeah.
And you know these guys. Like me, I've fought, 40 opponents. Let's just say 40, 45 opponents in my whole life. So I know them. I know, of course, I know a bunch of other ones. But this guy, thousands. And if you were working the Bellator cards, like as a ref, you were doing 22 fights. So that's 44 fighters. That's 44 fighters. You'd have to know every show. Gosh, it
does make a difference though, and it does help. I think the guy that I refereed more than anybody was probably Tito Ortiz.
Yeah, he's been around a long time, man.
Yeah, I think I probably refereed 20 of his fights.
What about Vitor? Oh, Vitor spent time overseas in Japan.
Yeah, Vitor, I probably refereed somewhere around 10.
Well, what about Randy?
Randy probably 15.
Less than less than Tito.
Oh yeah, I think just off of the top of my head, I mean, there's some guys that I could pick out. But I think Tito's number one as far as how many times I refereed.
Well, early on in his career, he was a main event a lot of the time. So you were mainly the main event ref for all the big shows. So
well, you figure when he started, Tito's first fight was against a guy named Wes Albright.
Mm-hmm.
All right, he beats him in like let's say 35 seconds or something like that. I didn't do the fight. Joe Hamilton was the referee for that fight, and then Ensign Inoue was in the tournament at, I think they called it light heavyweight at the time, but he fought it's Royce Alger, who was a wrestler from Iowa, and he armbars Royce, but he had gotten hit, and then he blew his nose and his eyes swelled shut. So they took Tito and put him into the finals against Guy Mesger, and in that one, back then we couldn't have blood a lot, so Tito is kneeing Guy in the head on the ground, which was legal at the time, but he ends up putting like 4 cuts into his head, and so that he's bleeding all over. So I have to stop it. And when I stop it and the doctor allows it to go on, then Tito goes for a takedown and gets caught in a guillotine and loses. So
yeah,
that was the first time that I refereed Tito. I think the last time I refereed Tito was against our boy Chael Sonnen.
Gosh,
quite a few years.
That's a long time.
Comparatively. 20 years, man.
Trevor and I fought on a card in Boise, not Boise, but in Portland, Oregon. And the promoter's name was Steve Boyd. And Chael was on the undercard of a fight that I was main eventing in Portland, Oregon. Trevor was on the undercard. Nate Quarry was on the undercard. Chael was on the Trevor. There was Mike Whitehead.
Oh yeah,
yeah. All these guys. No, Mike. Mike wasn't on that card. Sorry, there was a group. But guess who the 3 judges were? It was Dan Henderson, Randy
Couture, Matt Lindland,
and I think Dan was there also. I believe Dan was there. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Stories I could
Team
tell.
Quest.
Okay, and the next. So, what was the co-main?
Co-main was Tim Elliott against Benoit.
Let's talk that decision.
No, it was right.
Was it?
Yeah, you're looking at volume from Elliott against heavy punches, but heavy punches that in the end didn't do damage. And Elliott had a couple moments that the guillotine was tight at one time. Yeah. It was tight. So you're looking at that submission attempt and the fact that it was the closest thing during the fight that came to actually winning the fight, even though the knee bar was close at one point. That Benoit had Tim Elliott in, because you could see that there was some pain on his face. So there was good moments back and forth, but I thought Benoit, again, output didn't have enough output. I
had Benoit winning the fight. I had him winning the first. I basically had him winning all 3 rounds.
Wow.
I don't know what round. I could see maybe the second going back and forth and who got closest to the guillotine.
The second was definitely Elliott.
You thought so?
Yeah, because that's when the guillotine attempt.
But that's when the knee bar was, though, too.
Yeah.
So I thought the knee bar was closer than the guillotine.
Well, you could look at the knee bar. Now, it wasn't closer because...
Well, we couldn't tell the facial expressions on Benoit.
Yeah, you could. You could actually... Well, that's true. Facial expressions on both sides. Volume of output in the stand-up and just the number of shots that Elliott threw and landed compared to what you had with Benoit. And then you had the 2 submission attempts, we'll say that they equaled out. Then you had Elliott trying for a leg lock too that was really badly put on. Backwards, but it was all right. That happened. But he won the round.
There's moments like this podcast, Dave, where I would like to just look at the look right into the camera and just let John know that I wrote the fucking rules. I'm right and I'm right. But I can't do that. So this is great.
It's the criteria.
I know.
You just slap them through the split screen.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah. So, hopefully that's the right direction.
But if we're going to go back and look and the thing about with, Volkanovski and Max Holloway, that's the type of fight that tells you, we got stuck with the 10-point must system. Mm-hmm. And I believe that there's better ways of doing it, but you can't get commissions to change it. So it's not going to change. So the criteria that we have for the judges to go by, it's a good criteria. And I'm not saying that because of me, but it's really good. It's clear and simple, but there are fights, because you can look at Max knock, Volkanovski down in the first and second.
Yeah.
In the second, he hit him with the uppercut and Volk dropped, but got right back up. Don't think he was hurt. Some might have been off balance, but those are the moments like in boxing with a 10-point, that's an automatic 10-8.
Yeah.
That round should not have been a 10-8 in MMA, but this is the problem that you'll get with judging of fights. Mm-hmm. There's too much in MMA to fit within that mold. Needs to be looked at.
So give me, I know we're getting off topic on the fight.
Yeah, totally.
But it doesn't matter. People like to hear your take on all this stuff because, like you said, you wrote the criteria. So, but what other alternatives are there instead of a 10-9 or 10-point?
There's a lot. There's actually a lot of alternatives. There's a 5-point system that brings into effect certain categories for the fight. There's a 30-point. I mean, there's all these different point structures.
Yeah.
But you can sit there and say, for every round, you're going to give 10 points to the person that wins the grappling. Yeah. For every round, you're going to give 10 points to the person that wins the striking. For every round, you're going to give 10 points to the person that was the aggressor in the fight or the person that actually tried to finish the fight. It's a 30-point system, and you give those points out, in a way like that. I think it's too many. The 5-point is pretty easy. It does basically the same thing. You're giving 1 point for all these categories, but most people aren't used to it. So it would take a while for people to kind of get used to it, but it clearly is a good way of scoring fights.
You lost me when you started saying more numbers.
30 and 5.
30 and 5 and more numbers and all this other shit. That's just too much.
That's part of the problem right there.
Let me ask you about this, though. What about having more than 3 judges? Say you have 7. Then there's less likeliness of...
Makes no difference.
It doesn't?
Doesn't make a difference. I've been, all over the world with different ways of doing things. And ACB, which is now ACA, they instituted 5 judges quite a while ago, back in, we'll say, 2016, maybe 2017. And, that 5-judge system doesn't change anything because it's really what the most important thing you can do is have judges that are educated on everything that the fighters are doing and look at things in the same fashion, give credit for the same fashion. But the problem is, and this is where people lose it when it comes to, fighters will make the best judges. No, they don't. I'm just being honest. They don't, because you'll get fighters that are really good at something. The way they did it, they were really good at this type of takedown or setting a guy up in this fashion, or this submission was theirs. And then they'll be watching a fight and the person puts on that type of hold or does that type of takedown and they go, oh, that was crap. He did that sloppy. And they give it no credit at all because it wasn't done the way they would do it. So you've got to get them past all of their biases as far as the way they do it and say, it's not important how you would do it. It's important, was it effective? And that's the big word when you're looking at fighting. What was effective? It's not, and this is where people lose it when it comes to the significant strikes that the UFC puts up, or, CompuStrikes strikes or any of those things, is you can't compare a jab with a straight right hand or a left hook. There's differences in power. And then when you get into MMA, you're looking at not only differences in power of punches, you're looking at differences in power of, you get hit with a left hand, you get hit with a right knee, you get hit with a shin. It's like calibers of, handguns and rifles and things. I always tell people, look, punching, those are 22 calibers. Not saying they can't hurt you. They can hurt you, but they're 22 calibers. Okay. And then you get into elbows are like a 9mm. And then you look and you say, that kick, especially if it hits with the shin, you're looking at a 40 caliber. And then that knee is like a 45. It's heavy. Okay. That every time when someone gets hit with a good knee, they go out because it's a heavy instrument to hit somebody with. So if I land a knee to the body and you land a punch to the body, it's not 1-1. There's a difference in them. Which was the better strike? It might be that the punch was the better strike. And that's what judges have to go on. And that's why when they put these little numbers in there, you got some little, person sitting there with a little thing doing this.
Some little person.
Whatever they are. I don't know. There's a little guy about that big. So, they're there pushing buttons. It doesn't equate to, because this person had 10 strikes that landed and this person had 11, the 11 win. That's just not the way it goes.
Yeah. The ones that do the most damage and the ones that land properly in the right spots that potentially could do the most damage are the ones that you should count.
Yeah.
Towards do they put those in the significant strike area? What do they classify? Why is it classified as a significant strike? Is it different than a normal strike? I mean, what's the difference between the two?
They say it's a cleanly land strike. That's significant. And it's you could have a cleanly land strike that does nothing, and you can have one that doesn't land clean and it does damage.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Very true.
The other thing that people say that I think we should go over is this whole, you've got to beat the champion to be the champion. You got to take that. You got to knock him out. Bullshit. Who the hell ever told you that? That would be like saying, well, who won the Super Bowl? It's the Chiefs. It's your team.
Of course they
are. So next year when the Chiefs play, you have to beat them by more than 3 points to actually beat them.
I like
they're
that
the
idea.
champs. It's a good idea.
I like that idea.
Yeah. It's the dumbest thing ever. All you have to do is beat that person by one little thing, and you should be able to take that title. When both fighters walk in, the challenger and the champion, as soon as they walk in, it's just two people going for a title. One's trying to gain it and one's trying to keep it, but they're both just going for that title.
It's vacant at that moment.
Yep.
Podcast Dave keeps looking at me.
No, I'm just nothing.
I keep taking deep breaths. I think he's getting mad at me.
I was just gonna say,
you're tired.
I prefer the WWE method where you hit a finishing move, you win the belt, and decisive every time.
And you got to do the same finishing move every time because that's your signature move.
It's not decisive every time, though. That's the thing. It's not decisive every time. Anyways, next fight.
So hey Dave, so the screw job in Montreal, was that decisive?
Well, it was decisive in that he
was it
screwed.
Decisive?
He got screwed.
It got screwed.
Decisively got screwed.
Yeah, exactly.
So who was next? It was Molly McCann and Santos.
Jimmy Rivera,
what a tough fight.
Stamen.
Oh, who?
The third fight.
Yeah.
Before the minute. Yeah, Jimmy Rivera and Cody Stamen.
Oh, Rivera and
Jimmy Rivera and Cody Stamen. Jimmy Rivera looked good, man. I give him credit for a guy coming in real, last minute. He was supposed to fight, then he wasn't going to fight. Coming in because Cody Stamen is a tough dude, good wrestler, super strong. And I think Jimmy had some problems in the beginning with the strength and everything and was figuring it out. But once he figured it out, once he started using his left hand effectively and popping Stamen when he got close at times, when he tried for the takedown, just kind of slowly and systematically took that fight over. Big difference between the first round and what happened in the second, third.
I look at Jimmy as like someone who's been there for a while. He's fought really, really good guys. Stamen is getting into the groove of getting to that level of guys. Like he showed that there was a little bit of lack. I don't want to say inexperience, but the veteran or the I don't want to say journeyman either. I want to say this very carefully. But there's the one that had a little bit more experience fighting the upper echelon of guys. He just was able to always be a little bit ahead and little things. That
experience helped him just continue to move farther and farther ahead.
And it was there was little tricks of the trade that he did that Stamen hasn't quite caught on to yet. Couple of the reversals on the takedowns, a couple of the exchanges where he was able to the inside leg kick right to the combinations. There was things that he was doing that that veterans get away with, that veterans can use, and he figured it out, and he fought a very smart fight.
Yep.
Jimmy did, and Stamen just was a step behind. But here's the thing: I think always in these fights,
not at the beginning of the fight.
No, not in the beginning. But
he was leading the dance, man.
He was, but Jimmy also taking the fight, like you said, on short notice, coming in. I'm gonna let you figure. I'm gonna figure you out. I'm gonna let the fight play out in front of me and see what happens. Let it come to me, and I'll work my way through it and let the fight happen. And he did a great job.
This is the whole thing we talk about. You don't have to win every minute of the fight. You don't.
Although it's nice. But.
It'd be nice if you can. It makes it an easy fight. But when you're fighting something, sometimes it's going to take you a little bit, and you got to give a little bit to figure out what's going to work best for me. That's what Rivera did.
Yes. I just saw the difference between the two fighters as the fight went on, and the seasoned veteran was able to use the little tricks of the trade, just the years of experience of being in there and inside that cage, and then also against top level guys. And it just showed in a couple little things that could have been tide turners had Stamen been able to get the takedown or hold the position, or those little things that happen. And then Jimmy getting the reversal, it just ended up working. You can see a little bit of the deflation of Stamen going through it, and then as the fight went on, it just got a little more of a snowball effect. But it was a great fight. I actually really enjoyed the fight. And just to see two guys of same height, same ability pretty much, but Jimmy just having a little bit more of experience in that upper echelon, I think was the difference.
Yep.
And then the next fight that's the one, right?
Molly McCann.
Molly McCann and Santos.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Santos looked good. Molly McCann's the real deal.
She is.
Molly McCann is tough as hell, and she's a good fighter. And Santos just won every minute of that fight. Talking about winning all of it.
Yeah,
she did, man. She just put it on her. And everything that Molly tried just did not work, and Santos just kept on moving forward. She looked really good.
Yeah,
very impressed by her.
I got to tell you, I was looking at, because Molly was ranked, I think 14 or 15. I think 15, and Santos wasn't ranked. And I'm thinking to myself as they're fighting, and we've seen Molly a lot. I've seen Molly a lot around the UK series because I'm over there quite a bit for Bellator. But she is absolutely just adorable, like fun to be around, a little firecracker, great personality. Just, I got to tell you guys, if you guys ever get
good for all the other fighters, man. She does everything for them, man. She's a stud. She is, if you guys ever get an opportunity to meet her, she's just absolutely like a little firecracker, just running around the hotel, being super nice to everyone. Just a great person. She just was a step behind everything she did. Yeah. I don't know if it was the travel. I don't know if it was the weight cut. I don't know if it just wasn't her night, or I don't know if it just the ability she brought into the cage tonight just wasn't enough to get it done. Santos looked absolutely amazing in everything she did. And she made changes throughout as well. Physically strong. She looked way stronger than Molly in everything she did, whether it was the clinch, whether it was the knees, like that clinch was nasty. Some of those knees she hit her with, I was like, oh. Yeah. Every time Molly got to the body locker, got to the fence, and Santos was able to put her leg to the ground and break the single leg lock, she got right to the clinch and just started kneeing, and just changed how the fight started to play out. She's like, okay, look, I can't really wrestle because I can't take you down. And if I press you to the fence, you're going to clinch me and knee my fucking head off. So where do I go with this? And I felt like she had some success in the first round with the striking, but I think the game plan was to get the takedown, and she wasn't able to get the takedown. So she went away from that in the second round, like trying to get takedowns instead of trying to stay on the feet. Cause she was landing some clean shots. I didn't say she won the round, but she was landing some clean shots. Yeah. I think she could have built on that, maybe gotten a couple little more exchanges that maybe would have made it easier for her to get to the takedown, but I just didn't see the speed wasn't there. The strength wasn't there.
all those things, the length definitely wasn't there. And the clinch, like in that tie clinch, she was having a hard time with. So I think as a fighter, where do you go from there? And I'm looking at Molly, I'm going like, you've got to stick and move and throw like quicks, 2s and 3s and get out. And not get out straight back so you don't get counter with the long reach. You got to get out on the hip. You've got to cut the angle and turn and
make them turn.
Yeah, try to get to the hip side. So she just had a rough night. Obviously, I think she's gonna learn from this, and I feel the same way about Dan Ige. I feel the same way, about all the other, Stamen. Like they're gonna all learn a lot from this experience, and you could tell that they were still in the fight all the way up until the end. All three of them, even though they were losing on the cards, they were still, all three of them, Ige, Stamen, and Molly, all three of them were still in their gunslinging in the third round. And those are things you want to see from your young fighters, especially the ones coming up. This loss is not the end. That's definitely not the end. It's just the beginning for them of getting back on track and going back and maybe, like you said, Molly's always there for everybody, and this, that. I want to remind fighters, it's a selfish sport. You need to sometimes focus on yourself. Even when you're in between fights, you need to focus on yourself to work on specific things. I always say when you come into the gym, you got to train with a purpose. You got to come in like, hey, for Molly, she's got to work on getting to that takedown and that clinch a lot cleaner, and getting, when you do get to the fence, on whether not relying on just pressing them to the fence, you need to pull them away and make space to get them back out in the open mat so you can get the takedown. And she was having a hard time with that today. And I never even seemed like it crossed her mind to like try to pull her away from the fence, because she was using that fence really well to keep her balance, like a lot of fighters are doing now these days.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And so she needs to make some adjustments in that area. Combinations were doing well. I felt like she didn't have the confidence to rely on it. I think she thought going in there, Santos was going to be a lot harder on the feet to deal with, when she was having the most success all night on the feet. So I'm not saying she would have won it, but I'm saying that's where her success was happening, was on the feet. So tough loss for her, but I think she's going to end up coming back. She has a long way back, but she's got to get back. So what was the other fight?
The fights, this one that started off, that was, I can't, both of their names.
Munir Lazez.
Yeah, we were texting during this fight.
Yeah, we were texting her.
And Abdulaziz Al-Hassan.
Al-Hassan. I'll tell you what. All right, how do I say the other guy's name again
Lazez?
before I screw it up?
Lazez?
Yeah, L-A-Z-Z-E-Z.
L-A-Z-Z-E-Z?
Lazez.
He's good. Man, he's good. He's got some crisp stand-up. Man, throws beautiful elbows inside. Everything he was doing, because, his opponent is good.
Yeah.
He's had some big knockouts. He knocked out Sabah Homasi. So that dude's got some power. And he was cracking with him. He was standing there and he was doing some damage. I got to say, I love Dan Mohavedi, the referee. Man, you got to stop standing people up in the positions that you're standing them up in, though, man. Yeah. He's getting side. He's in mount. He goes to side control, and he's in side control. And stand him up. It's like, you know how hard it is to get to side control?
Yeah.
It's like, that's a good position. That's called a big advantage. You don't just take away an advantage. And then he did it a couple of times with him. I was like, you know what? You're involving yourself a little bit too much, but really impressive performance by Lazez.
Was he the same ref that did Stamen's fight?
Yep.
So he was. So he also, there was a break there as well.
Yep.
That was against the fence. This is my concern. And we hear the fighters talk about, I can hear Daniel Cormier tell me yell instructions, or basically say what I should do, and the fighters listen or they can hear them. But Bisping had said basically how long is he gonna let the ref, how long is the ref gonna let them stay here? And within seconds later, the ref breaks them. Yeah. So the problem is that the no crowd has an effect on
absolutely
everything. it's
everything.
not. It has an effect on the fighters because they can hear what the announcers are saying when a shot lands. It's like, oh, like Bisping tonight, he yelled that a bunch of times. Oh, whoa, you know. And
I love the fact that Mike gets excited. Okay?
Yes,
I really do.
Yes,
it's good. But you actually heard Paul Felder say, and I think Paul does a great job. He actually said, "Hey, who is that ref?" He goes, "I want him in my next fight." So he wants someone to split him apart, man.
Oh no!
I'm like, yeah, don't blame me on that one.
So you're running into these problems now, you know, where the fighters are now, like the refs are now being, I don't want to say, what am I looking for here?
What you're looking for is the referees all are refereeing under the same rule set.
Mm-hmm.
So if Herb Dean is the referee or Mark Goddard is the referee, they're pretty similar in when they're going to stand a fighter up because they're looking at the position and they're looking at what someone's attempting to do, and they don't give a shit what Dan Cormier, Mike Bisping, Paul Felder, Dominic Cruz, or Joe Rogan say. They know when they're going to do something because they're confident. And when you get guys that haven't worked in the UFC a lot, there is a pressure there, you know, and there's a ton of pressure, you know, that goes along with this that people don't understand. And so that pressure can make them think as soon as they hear it from the announcer, it's like, oh, I better do something.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, have your times. So,
well, they wouldn't have that pressure and they wouldn't hear those announcers if there was crowds. There's no fucking way they would hear those announcers.
The pressure doesn't change.
Yeah.
With putting a crowd in there, it actually intensifies.
You think so?
Absolutely. You don't think the crowd's yelling at you all the time?
Yeah, but I understand the crowd yelling at you in this, but like I think as a crowd, you understand that's the crowd is part of it. Hearing DC and Joe Rogan and somebody else say like, "Oh yeah, I wish they'd stand them up." I mean, there's a little bit more like these guys are in the industry. These aren't just fucking drunk guys in the front row. You know, they overpaid for front row tickets. Yeah,
they're overpaid, dude, man.
So, yeah, I mean. I thought, God, I don't want to murder this guy's name.
Lazez?
Yeah, Lazez. I thought he lost the first round. I mean, could go either way. I thought he lost the first round. I think all three judges had him winning the first round. I think is what the scorecard was. He had 30-20.
I think the scorecard, I think two of them were 30-27 and one was 29-28.
Yeah, I had Lazez losing the first and then winning the next two. It was close. The first round was close. I thought he took some shots in the first. He played it off really well, though.
But then he actually put it on.
But not
Razak. I can't say
Al-Hassan.
Al-Hassan.
Yeah, he put it on him, but it wasn't to the. Felt like it wasn't to the level that Lazez got it put on him in the first minute and a half. I mean, but realistically, look, the right guy won, and that's really what we're looking for. So yeah. I'm not splitting hairs on it.
The whole point.
Yeah, I'm not splitting hairs on it. I would have given it 29-28 like the last judge did. So, but good fight. I didn't get a chance to watch any of the prelims because I was here at the gym teaching because the Wednesday night fights I'm the only one covering the weight around here in the gym. So I didn't get a chance to watch the prelims. Did you get a chance to watch them?
I did.
Okay.
I watched all of them.
I heard they were good.
There was a couple good scraps.
Yeah.
Good young. There's a couple good young talented fighters in there. So.
Yeah, they said there. What's the guy's name? I can't remember.
The main event.
Was it the main event?
I'm asking you.
I don't know. I didn't.
Oh.
Sorry, guys.
Prelim main event.
Yes, I will watch the prelims on Saturday. My apologies. During the week here, I'm.
Oh, let me cover one thing that happened.
Yes.
And I cannot say. Guy from England and a guy from Greece. What's their names there, Dave? They're really tough.
And the prelims?
Chaez?
Yep, prelims.
There's a guy named Chaez or whatever that was...
The guy from Greece is Andreas Michailidis.
Michailidis, and the other guy started with a B.
Well, the guys from England that fought tonight were Chris Fishgold and Leon Murphy.
No, there's another one. Leon Murphy he looked really good. There's another guy.
He's not English, but it's Modestus Bukauskas. But
he's fighting out of England because he had a British flag too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's only two guys shown on the prelims.
There was an instant near the end of the round where, how do you say his name again? Starts with a B.
Bukowskis.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, ends up throwing some elbows. They're all legal elbows. You see his opponent actually drop a little bit, hurt. Bell goes off. Daniel Mohavedi, the referee, did an outstanding job of taking his time, waiting, continuing to look. They questioned when the gate opened up, the guy actually is on the mat. He's got to get himself off of the mat. And Mohavedi's talking to him. And he turns and he actually almost falls through the actual cage because the door's not there in his attempt to lean back. And Mohavedi stopped the fight. It was the right call. When the referee is telling the fighter he must get up and go to his corner, no one can help that fighter go to his corner. He's got to move and get himself there. And if he's unable to, that means he's unable to continue on in the fight. And Mohavedi made the right decision in that fight. Just wanted to say that. Yeah,
there were some complaints on Twitter and some social media complaints.
They're wrong.
Oh, this and that.
He did a really good job. Did exactly like he should.
The bottom line is you got to get up and walk to your corner after every round.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. I do know some rules. So, I've learned that I don't know them all after working with John, but yeah, I do know some. Yeah, that's funny. Was there any other fights on there?
Yeah, the other kid from England, he was really good. God, what was it? What was
Leron Murphy?
Kevin
or Chris?
What is it? Murphy?
Leron Murphy or Chris Fishgold?
No, not Fishgold. Murphy. Murphy looked good.
Yeah.
He's got good stand-up, man. He's smooth. His footwork is clean. He takes angles well, and he's got power. You know, that kid is gonna be a stud. Now, when he goes against someone that's a really good grappler, will he be able to fight off the takedowns? I don't know. But I'll tell you what, he's got power in his hands. He moves well. He's super athletic, super fast. He's going to be fun to watch.
I'm going to have to go back and watch the prelims tonight.
That one's a good one.
My apologies. There was one thing I wanted to talk to you about.
What's that?
Dave was going to remind me. Let's get into this. Ali and Ariel Helwani stuff that's going on. Ali's pulled all of his dominance fighters from doing interviews with ESPN as long as Ariel Helwani is working for ESPN.
Wow. And why? Okay, why? And really, what's the real reason? Why?
Well, I mean, I'm sure the real reason's long. I
didn't know. That's why I'm asking.
It's probably a long reason that's just come to a head. And I had said this, I think, years, and not years. I'd said this months ago. When you have, I gotta be careful. Not be careful. Just put it properly. When you have one manager with a lot of great talent, with a lot of champions, a lot of great talent, this is how it ends up being. I gotta be this honest. And I had said for a long time, because remember Justin Gaethje and a couple other guys were trying to get fights with Conor McGregor, and I said, like, if you want to be a jerk, knowing that Conor McGregor is the money fight, and if Conor wanted to be the jerk, all he had to do was say, "Hey, if you're managed by Ali, I'm not going to fight you. There's no reason for me to fight you. I'm not gonna give you the chance or the opportunity." With the Khabib fight, he had to, because Khabib was the champion. So I understood that you're fighting for the title. That's different than if you're fighting, like, if he was going to fight, somebody else that was managed by him, Justin Gaethje or whoever else was managed by him. He could simply just say, like, no, I'm not fighting you. Like, there was talk of him possibly fighting Usman. Well, he could have said, like, no, if you're managed by Ali, then you can just sit on the side and, you can lose millions of dollars because you're not fighting me. And Conor still, regardless, has that clout to do that. But with Ali right now can do that with ESPN. With ESPN being the platform they are, they can give two shits.
Exactly.
But I'm gonna give Ali. I'm gonna tell Ali, and this is what I had said to Javier Mendez for years. For years, I tried to tell him to do this probably over 10 years ago. Do not do interviews with anyone. Do your own AKA interviews. And if fighters or media have questions, then you have them email you them and you film them there. And whatever questions the fighters wants to answer, they answer, and you put it out on your social media network and let them come there and get the answers. There's no reason for you to do this. This is how you build your platform. Ali is doing the right thing because he doesn't get along with Ariel, and Ariel has ways of twisting words and changing things around and doing whatever it is that,
shocking.
Yeah, of course, shocking. But that's media, though. Before we dig into Ariel too much, okay? That's media in general. It doesn't matter. I've been through it from way back. I loved Sherdog and those guys, but they did it occasionally to me as well. Some other guys had done it from some other. Ariel's done it to me several times. Just simply put, if you guys want to do something, Ali needs to start his own, whether it's a YouTube channel or whether it's a platform of his own media network, have them do interviews with their own people and then put it up on their own website, and ESPN can go there and get the information. ESPN or other, USA Today and all these other news outlets can go to that media source and get what's going on. And then it comes strictly from them and they can regulate it. When you've got guys that are managed by him, when you've got this many champions, when you've got this many young up-and-comers coming up, I got to tell you, I don't see a reason why he couldn't do that. And I said that for years, back before Kane and DC and everybody was there at AK. I was telling Javier to start this, and he's just starting stuff now. And I was like, you could have been way ahead of the game. You know what I mean? But this is an opportunity for Ali to potentially do something that no other manager has been able to do or has not tried to do. Start a news network that's around your fighters. And if people want interviews, then they go through you. They go through you, specifically through you. Now, the UFC may jump in bombs, hey, you can't do this and that. But yes, actually, he can, and he should. I mean, you don't want to piss Dana off too much, but you got to make...
You are not going to piss Dana off by taking interviews away from
Ariel Helwani.
let's just put that one out there right now.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
That's not going to
bother
Dana
even allowed in the building. He's not even allowed in the building.
So.
What's your take on it?
First off, the media is hard to deal with. All right, I did a tweet the other day. Someone asked me a question, and the question was over the Max Holloway Volkanovski fight, and the judge. They named the judge, and I'm not going to bring up the name, but they named us that specific judge. And so I said, look, my answer was the UFC. Pays for the judge to be transported. They pay for testing for COVID. They pay for a room. They pay the person for their services. If they are unhappy in this situation at Fight Island, they don't have an athletic commission. They are the ones running this. They're their own regulator here. Now they're using the British MMA Council for the inspectors and things like that, but UFC is the one that hires everyone for this. So if they're not happy because Dana came out saying he wasn't happy with the judging, he wasn't happy with some things that happened in the reffing, and if you're not happy with it, you can get rid of him. Now he did that once before and it bit him in the butt. So I said, they employ him. That if you don't have a good performance for your employer, your employer can always get rid of you. Let's see what they do. And that was basically the words that I used. Next thing I know, you get reporters that write articles for websites off of a tweet.
Yeah. And
the headline says John McCarthy pushes for UFC to remove judge, and it's like, where did you come up with that? And I went and I talked to the reporter, said, hey, I didn't say that. And he says, oh, well, that's the way I took it. Doesn't matter how you take it.
Yeah.
But this is what happens is you can say something and then they're going to do what they think can push their story, get people to click on it, get all those views. They're not into the truth because, as you would say, you can always put that retraction later on in the back page that no one sees and say, oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. And it's a problem. So like you're saying, you have to control your image, your brand. And I think that's what Ali is trying to do for his fighters. He's got someone that he believes is not being fair to his fighters. And it's like, hey, you want to put out stuff that's not true. You want to say these things. My guys aren't going to talk to you. Well, that's just part of being a reporter. You're going to have those times that, you know, people aren't happy with you. And it's part of the job.
Yeah. I don't want to add to, like, we live in this cancel culture type bullshit right now, and it's kind of like this, oh, you don't like him, let's get rid of him. Look, I've never been a huge fan of Ariel Helwani, and I'm being upfront and honest. I mean, he's said things in the past, but I remember some of his very first interviews. He used to come to AKA to interview me, and he would ask me to ask like guys like Kane and other guys to do interviews with, because, you know, no one knew who he was, and he didn't, you know, he would like bounce from gym to gym trying to get interviews. And so that being said, I can't deny his hustle in the situation, but as he got bigger, things changed. The questions changed, the interviews changed, the way he talks to people changed, the confidence of, you know, and Dana's had, and like guys like Dana have had enough of it, of, you know, trying to get that little extra bit out of you after you've already shut him down. Let's be honest. Problem.
Ariel never would have gotten where he's at if he didn't have Dana's help. Dana helped him big time.
Okay.
Dana put him in positions that elevated him to a great extent over other reporters that had been there longer, you know, and eventually he pissed Dana off, and Dana kind of put him in his, you know, kicked him out, pushed him out the door at the LA Forum back at UFC 199 when he had, he came out and he put out the whole thing that Brock Lesnar was going to be part of UFC 200, and Dana got pissed that he put that out before the UFC put it out. You know, that's just the way it is. You know, if you're that reporter, sometimes you're going to know something and you have a choice. Am I going to put it out there or am I not? Sometimes you make the right choice. Sometimes you think you're making the right choice and someone gets really mad at you. And that's just the way it is.
How do you take it? How do you take my advice maybe to Ali?
You know, I think your advice is right. You know, I think Ali has to be smart. Ali will not always be sitting in the position he's sitting. I'm just telling you.
No, they never are.
No, you know, this has happened before. You know, maybe not in the media, but, you know, Monty Cox.
Yep.
All right. Monty Cox
just thinking of
was the biggest manager really as far as the UFC. And he had every champion. He had the heavyweight champion. I think he had the light heavyweight. He didn't have the middleweight. He had the welterweight. He had the lightweight. I mean, at the same time. And Dana saw it and went, I can't have this. This is a problem, because he can control my show based upon, he manages all these guys. And he had Sean Shirk at the time that was trying to get in, and Dana's going, he used to find another manager. He told Sean Shirk to find another manager, and Sean Shirk ended up going with the Zinkins.
With Zinkin and Bob Cook.
That's right, because that was his way of getting into the UFC, because if he was still with Monty, couldn't do it. You know, and where's Monty now?
Yeah.
You know, he's not that big manager anymore, because things change. It's just the way it is.
No, I agree. I said this. I said the concern is when you have guys like Usman, and you got guys like Justin Gaethje, and you've got Gastelum, you've got, you know, all the guys that are at that top echelon. Khabib, obviously, but he also has Islam. He's also got, you know, a lot of other guys.
Frankie,
yes, Frankie was probably one of his first, if not his first. Yes,
yeah.
So that's where I met Ali, was through Frankie Edgar, when I went out to help Frankie train for his second fight with Benson Henderson. That was where I met him. And we were driving back and forth and Ali was in the car driving back and forth from New Jersey to New York, you know, for 45 minutes. And it was the first time I ever met him. And I got to tell you, I was like,
going to Henzo's?
Yes, going to Henzo's. I'm like,
there you go.
Who the fuck is this guy? And does he ever stop talking?
He's got an attitude, man.
But he was a fun guy. Like I've been around him for years now, and he's you know, obviously with the Khabib connection as well. He's been in AK a lot more, you know, and he's a good guy. And I think his fighters speak very highly of him. He's doing them all justice. He's doing them all right. And so as long as he continues to do that, I think you're going to keep getting the results you get. You know, he's just got to be careful because like you said with the Monty Cox thing, and that's what comes to my mind, is that if you manage too many guys that are at the top, the UFC will find ways to start making these guys not want to be with you. And that causes a little rift. Maybe you have a connection and you do have a connection with Dana. I'm sure you do. But the issue is that don't get too big for your britches. It doesn't matter who you are because they're going to end up being like a Monty Cox where you can't get the best guys because they're like, no, if you sign with them, no, you can't get in the UFC.
That's it.
You know, but to touch back on the Ariel thing, I think really he just needs to, I think regardless, if you have that many top guys, develop a page, a website page or YouTube channel where people go to strictly for interviews with your guys. And if you want, only do your select interviews with the people that you choose that are journalists that you approve. That's the thing. And then whoever wants to come to that website and steal whatever that was said from there, go right ahead. But you've already had a chance to look over all the footage. You've already had a chance to look over all the questions in the interview and just do it that way, just to make sure that your fighters are taken care of and their images are taken care of.
But you're sitting there and you're saying you can do it that way, and you can. But that platform will never be as big as ESPN. All right. So when you're doing the interview for ESPN and you have Ariel Helwani there and you say, I don't want to interview with Ariel Helwani. Well, there's other guys. There's Brett Okamoto. Mm-hmm. Okay. So,
I love Brett.
Do the interview with Brett. That's fine. But you want that platform of ESPN because that brings eyeballs. It gets attention, and it's going to go a lot further than anything that you do as an entity unto itself as his manager. So, gotta be smart.
I got the feeling though that he's like, I'm not doing anything with ESPN until Ariel is gone. That's kind of the vibe. I'm not sure if I read that right or what, but that's kind of the vibe I got. It doesn't make sense given that ESPN, like you said, is the biggest platform. But yeah, I do got to tell you, with all the talented guys that he has, and just if they are putting their interviews out, like look, it could be what 25, 30 million followers on social media. I mean, that's not even counting like Gastelum and Gaethje and all these other guys. Like they could blow up pretty damn fast, pretty damn quick. Now, sure, ESPN's big, in the States, and and they are around the world. But I just don't know if they're at the levels of where all these fighters are from that can reach. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. I think he can build. I wouldn't say it'll be as big as ESPN in a year or two, but it's going to take some time. But I think he can do it with the people that he has right now. I think he can do it, and that's the thing.
Well, like you're saying, if you do it smart and you have all of them with all of their social media putting it out and everything, you could get a lot of traction with it. It's a good question, but it's a matter of the whole thing with Ariel. People are going to like Ariel, people are not. I've had my issues with Ariel, but I think everybody has, and that's, I don't blame him for him. I'm not mad at him at all. Just, he's a reporter and he's going to have to put out whatever, he thinks is going to be the right thing for him to move forward and sell. So,
well, I've said this for years. I can disagree with you and still like you and get along with
you. Absolutely.
And that's what I think, like we live in this era now where people are like, oh, we don't have the same views, so screw you, I want to ruin your life. And it's just garbage, man. It's just complete garbage. And so it's like I said, I haven't really ever liked any of the interviews that I've done with Ariel or anything like that. We've had some beefs along the way, but every time I see him, I say hi, treat him with a little bit of respect. I kind of poke a little bit at him because that's what I do, and I move on, and that's kind of what it is. And don't talk to him until the next time I see him at a show. I don't have any hard feelings toward him, and it doesn't really bother me. Like now, I mean, living the way that I live now, like, being an analyst and a commentator now, it's different than how I looked at him as an athlete and as a fighter. But as a manager, which I've never been, I can see why all these frustration is where it is with him. Because I've lived it as a fighter.
Do you know what the thing is that pushed Ali over the edge? That's it. Nothing with you. What was it?
It was, he suggested that, who fights? Who is next? Was it Justin Gaethje? No, he suggested that somebody else fight his guy Burns, because I think Burns is his guy. Gilbert Burns? I think Gilbert Burns is his guy. So he said he suggested that Gilbert Burns fight somebody else. Who else? There's another guy, another welterweight, instead of fighting Usman. Give Usman time to rest. I think that Gilbert Burns should fight somebody else, and him and DC were talking about it on their show together.
Leon Edwards.
Leon, he said
Leon Edwards.
Yeah, he told him to fight somebody else.
That's not a good fight for Gilbert.
No,
he should not do that.
That was Ali. No, but that was Ariel suggesting that, and that pissed Ali off.
Well, I can understand why Ali was pissed. It's like, shut up.
Yeah,
It's so funny because there are good managers and there's bad managers, but a manager is supposed to look at the opponent and have an idea. Is this a good matchup for my fighter? Yeah. Is this something that we can move forward with? It's not that my guy can't lose. He can lose, but is it percentage wise? It's 75% my guy's gonna lose.
Yeah.
That's when a manager should be saying, you know what? We don't want that fight. You can make any excuse you want, but that's your job, is to keep your fighter from fighting that guy if it's likely that he's probably going to lose to him. Matchups are everything in this sport.
Well, Ali went on, I think it was Leon. I think Ali went on to say, it was Leon. Ali went on to say, well, Gilbert's already beat both the guys that Leon's lost to. And so now there's Usman. That's all that's in front of him. So it was kind of like, and now he's going to, why would he get a title shot against Usman when he's already lost to Usman and Gilbert hasn't lost to Usman? So that's why they should fight over Leon. And he said, well, he should fight that fight. And I understand where Ali is coming from, but I also understand why Ariel is possibly thinking that. But look, I don't even understand why it was a topic. Dana's already said that Gilbert's getting the next title shot.
Yeah.
So that's stirring the pot for no reason. And I can imagine there's probably no love lost between the two of them over the last, say, 4 or 5 years, especially now that Ali's become the manager that he's become. And Ali can get into the building anytime he wants when Ariel cannot. So that kind of probably rubs Ariel a little bit raw. It is what it is. I thought it was a little bit brash to say like, oh, ESPN, you're out. But I also thought this could potentially lead into something right if he does it right, or if he wants to put money into doing it right. You know? Just an idea.
Yeah, it is an idea, and it's a way of controlling what goes out.
Yeah,
and controlling that is always a good thing.
Very true. You look like you have something to say, podcast Dave. Okay. Is there any other news? Do you see any news on there? So for tonight,
Bellator announced Chandler and Benson.
Oh, when is that?
August 7th.
August 7th.
Wow, that's quick.
Chandler versus Benson twice. But the question is it a 3-round fight or is it a 5-round fight?
No, I think it's a 3-round fight because neither one of them are champions.
I know. Should be a 5-round fight.
Neither one of them is champions.
And then there's Pico and what's his name? Somebody Junior.
Who's Pico fitting this weekend? Next week.
Pico's fighting Solo Hatley.
Hatley. He says
Solo Hatley Jr.
That card's going to be a good card. It's downsized, with all the restrictions going on. But that fight is next week, Friday night, on Paramount Network. You guys can tune in. We will be in Connecticut at Mohegan Sun. So John and I will be calling the fights. I don't know if we're going to be 6 feet apart.
Will.
Are we going to be 6 feet apart?
I don't know.
I hope not. You have to. This is really strange. You're gonna go into the cage and do the interviews, but you're gonna do it from 6 feet away.
I know. Like so.
No, it's gonna be great.
Whatever.
I'm excited to see the whole crew, the whole production team again, and get through this, man. We'll be doing shows.
Start doing fights again. Yeah, got stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we have our schedule set. I think all the way through like September 20 something. I think already. So. Should be good, should be fun, and we'll see you again on Saturday night. We have more fights on Saturday night, and
more fights Saturday.
Are you going Sunday or are you going Monday?
I am not going Sunday or Monday. In fact, I talked to Fish today.
Okay.
And he said that I could actually go in Tuesday. I am driving.
Oh God.
So
no.
I'm gonna drive Tuesday and be up there Tuesday night, Wednesday early morning. Do the COVID test, do all that crap. Do the quarantine.
Quarantine till the fight?
Not till the fight. What are you talking about?
Well, you're going in the cage. You got to do the double quarantine test. Remember that?
No. If I do it this way, I only have to do the one.
Ah,
Instead
very
of being
nice.
tested twice.
Have you got your kit yet?
No.
I haven't got mine yet either. They said tomorrow.
Have you gotten a FedEx thing?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I.
No. So I'm assuming they're going to send it out tomorrow morning.
So we might not be going at all.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
We'll let Jay and Chael call the fights.
Oh, that's good, man.
What fights are this weekend?
You got the rematch of Federico against Benavidez.
Yeah,
that's not a good fight.
Yeah, see, I just simply think it's gonna. I'm without the headbutt. I think it's gonna happen again. I think the same. It's not gonna happen that way, but I just don't think the fight's gonna go Joe's way. As much as I want Joe to win a title, and as much as I like Joe, and as much as I would love to see him finally achieve that goal, I just don't think it's gonna happen. I think the time's passed. I think it's passed. He is very unfortunate. He got stuck with DJ in his weight class, and then Henry came up right after him. For his whole career. It's that.
Well, he's got to win against Henry.
Yeah, I know that. I do understand that. But if at the level that Henry was fighting at the end, at 125 after he beat DJ, he wasn't going to beat him.
Nope.
And so the UFC is trying to give him another chance, give him an opportunity to win that title again. It's just not going to happen, man.
Nope.
And I would love to see him do it. I would love to see him do it, but I'm a big fan. Who else is on that card?
Gastelum and Jack Hermanson.
So I'm not familiar with Hermanson. I've seen him fight 1 or 2 times. Good. Gonna beat Gastelum?
No. He's got power though.
Yeah.
Well, and that's I look at Calvin Gastelum as my MMA Roberto Duran. All right. He fights in a way that's similar. He's got the same kind of look. He's just tough as hell. He's got heavy hands. Hermanson. I say Hermanson. He's a tough guy, got a lot of power, but I don't think he's going to put Kelvin away. And if there was one thing that I thought Kelvin is good on the ground and his wrestling is actually good when he uses it. The question is, will he use it? If he decides to change things up and utilize at least the thought of the takedowns, it's going to slow Hermanson down quite a bit in his stand-up. And if he does take him to the ground, I think it's an advantage that he has that is clear in the fight. So, it's just a matter of how smart of a game plan does Kelvin have. He's with smart people. Who his coach is in Rafael Cordero and stuff, and if they do things the way they always do and look at this fight the right way, there should be a clear route to what you want your guy to do.
Not many people have the conditioning that Gastelum has. Like, he's so just active and busy, and the output is there, and he's just gritty.
Tough to deal with.
Yeah, it's really tough to deal with. That junkyard dog mentality of just pressure you, and just keep touching you. I mean, we saw in the Izzy fight, he just keeps going and just keeps going. It's just an absolute fucking dog, and I love it. I love watching him fight.
You saw how much damage he took in that fight and kept coming.
Yep.
Until it finally wore out.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
He's my perfect advocate for the 175-pound weight class.
Oh, exactly.
Like if you're going to implement.
He fits into that class so perfect.
Yep.
170, he can't make that. He just, he likes eating his food and being a certain way. And 185, it's just his frame.
Yeah.
Look at when he's fighting, Izzy. Izzy's 6'4". Gastelum's 5'10".
But can you imagine watching Gastelum though fight? What's his name? God, the guy that beat Romero had shoulder surgery. Was it shoulder surgery? Costa.
Oh,
Paulo Costa.
Costa.
Yeah, but can you imagine him fighting him? Like that guy's enormous. Walks around 230.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just fucking crazy to think. Like, you got Gastelum probably like walking around, maybe 200. Maybe 200. Maybe. But he's my perfect advocate for the 175-pound division, and I'd love to see him and Usman fight. They're both managed by Ali, by the way, but I'd still like to see that fight happen. What other fights on there?
Mark Diakis versus Rafael Fiziev.
Not familiar. Gotta take a look. Who else? That's it.
Ariel
Marcus from England.
Luana, Carolina.
Daisuke, what's his name?
Diakis.
Diakis
or Diakis.
how do you say his name?
A lot of times he has a red mohawk.
The red, mohawk, yeah. It's not Daisuke.
No, it's not. I just didn't want to butcher that.
Yeah. I just said his name the other day. I was talking about
Mark.
No, Mark. Yeah.
Stick with Mark.
Just stick with Mark.
Just stick with Mark.
You guys, if you guys ever listen to us commentate and I'm using someone's first name, it's because I can't say their last name.
Well, I can't say it correctly.
Yeah.
I can say it my way, which is usually not
it's
right.
not usually right. So I just want to let you guys know, if you guys hear me say someone's first name, it's because I don't want to butcher their last name on national television. All right. Well, I guess that's it, buddy. We'll see you on Saturday.
Right,
and then after I see you on Saturday, I'll see you in a couple days after that.
Yeah, baby. That'll be good.
That'll be awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait to get back on track, man. Jeez. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button, thumbs up on YouTube, and we thank you guys so much. ProWrestlingTees.com/weighing-in, and they have all of our t-shirts there. We have a new logo t-shirt up as well as our old logo t-shirt, and we appreciate you guys tuning in.
We got to say thank you to Luke.
Yeah,
let's say thank you to Luke for that. Luke did a great job, and it's what's the Fletch? I'm sorry.
Is it Fletch?
It's the Fletch.
Is it?
Well, is it really the Fletch? Is it Fletch?
Is it Fletch?
On Instagram.
Yeah, so follow him on Instagram. He helped do the artwork for our new intro.
Great artist.
For our new intro, as well as the design for the new t-shirt that's up. And he's working on some new stuff as well, from what we understand. And we want to thank you for putting in the hard work, and we appreciate you for doing it. It's the Fletch. Check him out on Instagram. Check out his work. And
Is it Fletch?
No. Is it Fletch? Sorry.
Is it Fletch?
Is it Fletch?
Is it Fletch?
I
Thank you,
that.
Luke.
Thanks, guys. All right, man. Bye. We're out of here. Bye.